Whoever this is, I hope that you know that you're never alone. This is for all the people who often reach for a phone and type out a message because they wanted to vent, but pause for a second as they're about to hit send and decide to delete it all. Decide, maybe I should call, maybe I just shouldn't say anything at all. But imagine hearing about your friend as they become a current event. Imagine not sending those letters, the letters that he would have read. You read a speeding car run off the road, and suddenly they were dead. But I'm here to let you know life can turn on a dime. 1 second, everything's fine. The next minute, you're blind. Every newspaper now reads a different headline, and in your mind, everything seems so absurd. Your head's full of all of these words, but nothing makes sense. How you could have never inferred that whatever you could have written or said would now never be heard. You never know when the next lines will be blurred. Suddenly you're confused because now all you see is different headlines on the news. Young man gets hit by a car. Young man dies crossing the street. Every newspaper reads, young boy dies crossing the street. Young boy gets hit by a car. Every news station, young man gets run over. Young boy dies crossing the street. Every news channel, young man gets run over. Local kid lies dead, empty street in Queens. Young boy slain on his way to the gym. Every news, on the news. Breaking news story, tonight at 9. A young man has been reported dead after being hit by a car on a road an empty road in Queens. Sources claim that the car was in fact speeding as the young boy was crossing the street headed to a gym late last night in Queens. As he was loved by many, we have been asked to read some of the letters people have been sending in. So now, back to where we began. 1. Dear lost love, if only you knew how I had felt, if only you knew the way I knew, all the ways you made my heart melt. Every time you lowered your eyes, you showed me you weren't like those other guys. And I knew you weren't ordinarily shy, so why? Why did you lower your gaze? They said when you got hit by that car that you weren't even looking both ways. 2, dear best friend, do you remember our favorite song, In the End? I thought you would always remember these lines. I designed these rhymes to explain in due time all I know. Time will, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Time after time was our song I would sing. If you fall, I will catch you. I was supposed to be waiting. Time after time, you say go slow. But I fell behind. Can a second hand please rewind? Because I didn't look out below. I let time go right out the window. So what these lyrics used to mean to me are now just going to be a memory of a time that I tried so hard to catch you when you fell, but it didn't even matter because you got hit by a car. And then everything fell apart when I heard that the dude who was driving said he saw you crying with your headphones plugged in. That's when I knew I should have been there. Instead of singing, I should have been there listening. 3, dear son, dear ek matro chale. Dear only son, if only you knew the pain I was going through right now. Dear only son, oh Allah, mar chale ki please maaf kar dao. I didn't know I raised him to be this dumb. My sweet only son, it's over now, the devil's won. I knew you weren't doing good. I knew you weren't doing well, but don't you know suicide sends you straight to hell? Dear whoever finds me, this is my last letter. Tell my mother thank you for bringing me into this world with her, for carrying me in her womb. Tell her, I swear, Ma, it wasn't the dunya that led me to my doom. It was my disease that took me to the tomb. So inshallah, Mom, I'll see you soon. Dear everyone else, these are all letters that'll never be read. These are letters never to send. All these letters I made up in my head, letters I don't want you to write me when I'm dead. Because, see, my test from God comes in a different form. I take antipsychotic meds because I was born outside a neurochemical norm. And there's an enormous storm inside of my head full of voices that want me dead, that once tried to convince me to stand, just stand up on the road up ahead. They wrote the letters never to send. They whispered in me, there's no stop sign. Maybe that speeding car you saw that you could have been hit by will pass by here a second time. So I'm here to let you know life can turn on a dime. 1 second everything's fine, the next you could be blind. Luckily, I opened my eyes, and as the tears dried, I realized no one would write these letters like me. And if I had died, what would you expect to see on the next day newspaper's front headlines, car crash or suicide? Or would they hide my true story behind a homicide and these lines can be blurred when people wrongfully infer that the sickness in our minds that we were taught to internalize, because it was invisible to your eyes, that recovery is just something that happens at one time. So I'm here to remind you that the true issue that underlies is when we believe all anybody needs is sleep, clean diet, and exercise every day, or good deeds, staying quiet and remembering to pray. Everyone's different, that God made in their own way. But make no mistake, not everyone's psychosis is a symptom that goes away. So I just had to tell you things my voice to say. Recovery is something I'm facing every day. Thank you guys. I know that was kind of